Hello everybody, welcome to another Junk Journal with me video. I'm going to be doing I think 4 separate spreads or projects in this video, which is why it is slightly longer than usual. I started off, I just had an urge to work with vellum. I mean, I love vellum. Who doesn't love vellum? It's awesome. And yeah, I just had an urge to work with it. Those pieces I was showing you at the beginning there, I printed them off like over a month ago. They were some Prima free printables, like colouring pages, and I thought they would look really pretty printed out on vellum. So I did, and Prima Marketing even reposted my story about it. I was like, oh, Prima reposted me, I'm famous. Anyway, so yeah, I wanted to use those. I had this plain page, and I thought my original plan was just to completely cover it with vellum and just have colour underneath, but that sort of changed over time. But I'm just doing a distress oxide background, kind of like a pink to purple ombre sort of effect, with one lipstick, spun sugar, milled lavender, and then shaded lilac. That paper, I don't know what paper it is. It was like really cheap paper, or it wasn't vintage. I think it was just from a really cheap planner or something, but it took the oxides really well. Like, I was pleasantly surprised. Sometimes some papers is just, you can really see the pattern of the blending tool and stuff, and you know, the circles and stuff, but no, this worked really nicely. I sprinkled a little bit of water on just to get like just a sminty bit of the oxide effect, and then I'm doing some stamping on there. I've put like a pad of paper, it's just a pad of paper I have around, just like for scratch paper and stuff. I just put that behind the page so it was more like a sturdy something to stamp upon. Did some background stamping with like a scripty stamp and a floral one using archival inks, and then stamped out this lady with Stays on Stone Grey as like my focal point, and then putting the vellum over the top. I was like, not 100% loving this, so I thought instead I would rip up a piece of the vellum and make it into a pocket, like a really big pocket, but it's not completely covering everything up. I'm going to stick that on with red line tape because it's nice and secure. I did also kind of play around when I was doing these spreads of like different, I keep saying like, I'm so sorry, I need to stop that. I shouldn't do voiceovers first thing in the morning when I haven't fully woken up yet. I've only had 1 cup of coffee. Anyway, I was experimenting with different ways, like different adhesives and vellum, because as we all know, it can be a pain in the behind to stick vellum down. It really can. I don't usually use any sort of liquid adhesive with it, and Pritt stick is like borderline whether it's liquid or not, but a glue stick. But I thought if I wanted to kind of do a collage with all these different patterns of vellum and rip them up, and what I did was use Pritt stick but then use a bone folder to really push it down, and it seems to have worked. Like, it's not peeling up at the edges or anything like that, so yeah, I was quite happy with that. These little bits and pieces I'm playing with here, these are all little vellum things that I often put in my junk journal kits and creative journal kits in my shop, and sometimes I like to use them myself as well, and I just wanted to play around with some, so I just grabbed some random ones. There was this really pretty one with the gold foiled like dandelion puff and the little puffy seedy things that you blow when, you know, they go flying. I thought if I could fussy cut that out and use that, and then it really didn't work with that pink background, the gold and the bright pink. It looked just a little bit tacky. I'm not saying gold and pink always looks tacky, but in that particular situation it did. But I also had these tiny little scraps of vellum, just like 1 inch by 2 inches or something like that. So I stamped some butterflies on those, fussy cut them, and I'm sticking those on with glue dots. That page on the left, I'm not really doing anything with it, it's just going to be a decorative page. So I have that collaged vellum patterns. I'm going to add these little butterflies, and then I think all I also do is add a little sticker or something later on. Obviously I needed something to put in my pocket I created. That white piece there is from some packaging. I stapled on that other piece of vellum, and it's kind of made the pocket so it slots over and under the pocket. I quite like that little effect. I needed something on the back of that packaging to cover up the branding and stuff. That list pad I'm using usually lives on my computer desk, and for some reason it was on my craft desk. I don't know why, and I just grabbed it and thought, yeah, that'll do. So I've stuck that on the back. I didn't do any journaling during the filming. I couldn't think of anything I wanted to write, but I have it ready to add probably like a verse of poetry or some song lyrics or something, or just like a random thought, you know, when it comes to me. That sticker I've added there is also from shop stock. Occasionally I go through all the stickers when they arrive when my stock order arrives, and 1 out of every 50 to 100 there's a problem with it, like it's been peeled a little bit or it doesn't have a backing in a certain place. So I always go through and put those stickers aside and then use them for myself, because obviously they're not good enough to put in the shop, but I can still use them. So I thought that looked kind of pretty there, and kind of pulled away, adding that brownie sticker, a little bit of brown washi tape, those brown rub-ons that I've just added, pulled away from that slight monochromatic thing that was going on. I know I have the pink and purple, but still it was that and black and white, and I wasn't loving it. So adding just that little bit of brown helped the whole colour scheme of the whole thing. Adding little strips of black and white washi and some little quotes. Again, those are stickers from my shop. Those are ones that I printed off wrong in black and white for some unknown reason instead of colour, so I just kept them for myself. But I actually quite like the black and white ones. Maybe I should just put them in the shop on purpose. I don't know. So those are the first pages done. Not really documenting anything in particular, just having fun playing with vellum and creating pretty things. This next page is just going to be a single one. I have an envelope of photos specifically that I want to use in my junk journal, and I pulled out that one with the coffee cup, and then I found 2 other photos that went with that picture, as in they were at the same event, and I thought I'd put them all together on just a little 1-page spread to document going for breakfast with some family when I went up with other family members to visit my sister who lives in Sheffield. We went for the full weekend, and on the Sunday we went for breakfast at this cafe, and oh my goodness, it was like the best breakfast I've ever had in my entire life. I'm still obsessing about it. And that coffee, I am not exaggerating, it was the best flat white I've ever had, ever. I know that sounds super millennial to say flat white best ever or something, but it really was. It was so freaking good. Anyway, but just adding random areas of interest in the background there, like that hello was from that top of that list pad that I'd used on the previous pages. I added that little bit of doily because I think doily, coffee cup, cafe, they all sort of work together. A random piece of card or packaging or something that I just needed to use up. The 2 pictures, there's the picture of my breakfast and then a picture of myself, one of my sisters and one of my nephews. I'd actually printed out, we took a picture of all of us together at the cafe, but when I printed it out, it cut off like a big chunk of the picture, so I was only able to save that little bit. I reprinted the whole thing later on, but I thought I might as well keep the picture of the 3 of us and put it in my junk journal or something. But yeah, and then just adding my journaling about how delicious it was. I put those 2 pictures together of the people and the breakfast and did a little tip in for those, and then going through like planner stickers to find coffee and breakfast related stickers that I think would work. And that's pretty much all I'm going to do to this page. Really simple, but I just love the way that coffee cup looks on that craft doily. I think that looks gorgeous. So yes, just a quick little page there, but it's all down and documented, so I am happy with that. Next I'm going to do a double page spread. I have done a similar one to this before. I am a Cats Protection sponsor, and they send occasional newsletters and stuff out, or muse letters as it says on the thing just there, which makes me smile. And the envelopes and the letters and the newsletters and stuff, they're so gorgeous. They put so many graphics and things on. You can see that there with like the flowers and the little kitten. That's actually the bottom of the main letter that says, "Dear Ms. Fairbairn, thank you for being a sponsor," blah, 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 blah. So I tore that off to use that because it was just adorable. I've cut half of the envelope there and pasted it in just to use as a pocket, and then the other half of the envelope had that cat on, so I've just fussy cut him and put him on the top there. And then I wanted to include that little kitten thing because, as I said, it was so freaking cute, and I thought it would look cute as well on that green florally vellum as well. So this is very much just Grace being a crazy cat lady in her junk journal, but meh, I love it. So again, yeah, pasting that cute little kitten on onto the vellum there. I'm going to add a couple of little strips of washi just to cover up any little awkward bits where, you know, a bit of paper sticking out and whatnot. And also it adds like a little area of interest and whatnot. And then I needed something to put in the little pocket I created, so I ripped the top of the front page of that little newsletter off that says Muse-letter. I know I've already laughed about it, but I'm going to laugh about it again because I love a good pun. And then I tore off the back page that has this majestic floofy cat on and thought I would use that. I'm just kind of roughly measuring it to make sure it's going to fit in that pocket, and then I wanted to stick that bit that said Muse letter onto that, and again I was carefully measuring it to make sure it was going to fit in my pocket, because there's nothing worse than like making a really lovely thing and then it doesn't fit in the pocket you've created. You're like, either I'm going to have to put it somewhere else that I don't want to, or I'm going to have to fold it and I don't want to do that. And anyways, I glued the little title on as well as stapled it on, just because I like the effect and the added texture of adding staples on things sometimes. Fussy cut that cute little cat from the front page and just glued him on, and then I'm just going to add a few little pictures of my own cat, because if I'm going to go crazy cat lady in my journal, I may as well go full crazy cat lady in my journal. I've got a lot of cat washi, but a lot of it is very brightly coloured, and I'll find it difficult to use sometimes, but this one here is red and it says meow and perfect, so I just thought I'd use those around the photos. That little black cat I've added down there, that's from my own designs, my black cat collection. I think it's called Salem the Cat in my shop. Then going through my collection of sticker flakes, I have many cat sticker flakes. I found that cute one with the big eyes and thought I'd add just that row strip of washi with the cats on, another strip of cat washi on the front there that says meow, and then I have these sticker flakes which are so funny and so random, and they say just like funny cat faces saying funny things, but most of the time they're saying oh no or something like that, which didn't really go. So I found that little one that's just said meow and thought that could work nicely. Then I still had that dandelion gold foiled puff thing that I'd fussy cut for one of the earlier pages, and it didn't work, and I thought it could work on this one because you've got like the little kitten and sort of like a meadow looking thing, so I just put it down there just because really I wanted somewhere to put it down. If I didn't use it in this little journaling session, it wasn't going to get used and get lost on my desk forever, end up in the bin, you know what it's like. So yes, I just thought it would go cute on there. On the reverse of that vellum, I've said this before, but I don't like when you turn over vellum and can see like the behind of something through it. It's just a thing that gets me, unless it's on purpose, like it's something pretty that you want to see. I just don't like it. So I used the leftover scraps of the bottom of that letter that had like the meadow and grass and flowers on. I've put a big wide strip of washi in between those because they weren't wide enough to cover the whole space. And then I'm just going to add little strips and collages of washi and that little thing there that says little moments count, and I can either leave that on its own or come back another day and do something on the opposite page that will match that. I just wanted to put something down. All those bits I used there, the washi and the little phrase, were from the Crepe Paper Journal Studio line that came out like a year or more ago. I don't remember. Anyways, we are on the last page now. This is a recent thing that I am documenting, basically lockdown baking. For anyone else, well, I know many of you are in lockdown, we've all been doing a lot of baking, and I am included in that. I just have some simple cupcakes that I made and a cute picture of my brother like reaching for one of the cupcakes, and I also made brigadeiros, which are these Brazilian chocolatey truffle delicious things that I'm completely obsessed with. They're basically just condensed milk, cocoa powder and butter. I think that's about it. Oh, and sprinkles around the edges, and it sounds so simple, but they are so good. Oh, I could eat one right now. And so sad that a couple of people in my household didn't like them so much, so I had to eat most of them. Isn't that devastating? Anyway, I added that little collage of doilies up the side because, like with the coffee earlier, kind of doilies, baking, they go together. I pulled out this 6x4 journaling card, which is an old Project Life one that has like stitching and stuff on. I thought that went quite well, especially as I had the blue doily. I thought I'd use the scraps of the doilies that I'd cut off the page and just put them straight onto this journaling card. I thought, why not? Just layering up some washi just for more little areas of interest, going around the edges there with Distress Oxide in tea dye. And then I had this little scrap of ribbon that was just in my box of stuff to use, one of my many boxes of stuff to use, but in like the one I grabbed for first. And I thought I would just add that around the card, just kind of like in a similar way you would use washi, but using red line tape for that, and I just thought, yeah, that looks cute and adds a little bit of texture. I'm going to back my cake photos just on a little bit of a scrap of vintage book paper there. I tried putting them straight on without any backing, but it just didn't look right. I don't know, I couldn't explain it, but it just looked a bit better with that. Ripping the edges, and again using the tea dye around those edges. Then for the Brigadeiro pictures, I don't think I'm going to tip that card in straight away. I think I wanted to put my pictures down first to figure out, you know, where I could put the washi to tip the card in. But yeah, I just made just a little sort of collage of scraps to base those on. So there's like some pink mulberry paper, again, distress oxide around the edges because of course, a little scrap of vellum that I put down. I didn't want to cover up those doilies too much. Like I played around with using like a scrap of book paper and stuff, but I really wanted to see those doilies underneath. So I just added a few little scraps, as you can see, the pink stuff and the vellum, kind of collaging my photos over the top of each other. I cut one of them down really, really small so it would fit a little bit better. I've got the photo that I put on my Instagram story of making the Brigadeiros because I needed something to do, because when you have to stir the mixture over heat for like 15 minutes constantly, so I was like, bored, let's take a picture. I mean, it's worth it, but your arm will ache. Just doing some journaling on the front of that tipping card there. I tried to letter lockdown baking, but it just went wrong. Sometimes lettering goes really well, and sometimes just, yeah, it went wrong this time. I may go back and cover it up. I don't know. I'm not happy with that lettering, but it's not the end of the world. These stickers here I have had for 1,000 years. They are old planner stickers from a planner sticker shop that has had a name change years ago since I bought those stickers, but just cute little baking ones that I thought would work well. And then using the same washi that I'd used on the little tip-in card to tip it in. It's a Recollections set, I think, that washi. I don't know what the set was called or anything like that. Stamping the date, and I think that is it. I think that's the last thing I do. Yeah, I'm just kind of going to flick around and check everything. My goodness, I really want to make Brigadeiros again now. Must not need to stop eating so much cake and rubbish. Anyways, there we go. Those are my spreads for this video. I hope it wasn't too long and that you haven't been completely bored. I will leave relevant links as always in the description box. That will probably mostly be ink colours because most things I use are just scraps and such from my stash or stuff that I've stolen from my shop. So I will link that obviously. Anyways, I'm rambling. I'm going to shut up and go. Thank you so much again and goodbye. Bye!